Nevada City, California, always ranked in the top 10 tourist destinations in the country. Old gold mining town. I lived here for 15 years. Great hat store, this place right here. I have bought more than a couple of hats there. Zabo Vineyard, he's a character. He's a real character. He's got a magnificent bar in there that he made from eucalyptus. It's all hand rubbed. He's closed, you can't see it right now. Lots and lots of touristy shops. It's absolutely 100% a tourist town. Saloons. Some of the saloons, maybe I can shoot one tomorrow in Grass Valley, nearby Grass Valley. And they even still have the tile trough at the foot of the bar for the, well, I was going to say the gentleman, but to do what you do with the tile trough, you're probably not a gentleman. Anyway, population here is about 2,000. You know, when you live in a small town like this, and you're the kind of person that goes out and gets involved with other people like me, well, everybody knows everybody else's business in a town like this. And when you're single, they say, you don't really break up with someone so much as you just go to the end of the line. Because you're going to go back there again. And it's not unusual to see this all covered in snow. Gets plenty cold here. We have some magnificent Victorians. This was an extremely wealthy place. U.S. presidents would come here. And if you consider Grass Valley, next door, population 20,000, more gold has been pulled out of the ground of Grass Valley than the rest of the world combined. Lots of old buildings. They would be older, except at some point in the 1800s, the whole town burned down. Little lodges like this, 2 rooms kind of thing, scattered all around. My house was way up there, way up there. So yeah, snow. Another reason I had to get out of here, although all those trees, that was a big reason. It's just you can't get fire insurance here anymore. They kill you on fire insurance if you can get it. You have to get a bond from Lloyd's of London. It's pretty brutal. The Miners Foundry right here is an event center, and it used to be kind of an all things to all people place for the community to come together. Biggest place around here, and that piece of glass right there had to come from the other side of the country and was at the time the biggest piece of glass that had ever been shipped. It's very neat. So inside it has a stone foundation and looks kind of like a castle. And I used to be the chief of a local Scottish group, the Gold Country Celtic Society, and we'd have our Burns dinners, our annual Burns dinners here, and we'd do it all up like a traditional Scottish castle. It was quite nice. The local radio station, KVMR, kind of a hippy-dippy theme. They've been there for a long time though, KVMR, and they're very popular. They're certainly not the richest radio station in the world, but they get by with a lot of donations. Oh, that's right, it's Sunday morning and they play Hawaiian music on Sunday mornings. I forgot all about that. It is an eclectic bit of programming. One of the original buildings from before the fire. And one of the things that you'll see that's very, very Gold Country are the iron shutters against the snow. up there as well. And that balcony is very functional. They have a big Mardi Gras parade here every year. And they throw beads from there, and they throw beads from there, and up at the National Hotel. Parades here are popular. Now we're coming up on the outdoor seating, which didn't used to be here, and I was campaigning for. There's some changes that have been made that I always wanted to be made, and they didn't. So this is Friar Tuck's, which is, without argument, the best restaurant in town. I'm sorry to say that's not a very high bar, because these are all just tourist spots. But Tuck's is very fun. Tuck's is very fun. And I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars I have spent in here, and hours, because it's a fun bar. Food has always been good. I'm not going to jump up and down and say it's great, but it's good. And this building used to, as I spin around, that's new. The old place there was fun. Civic Center, Town Hall, Courthouse, all that kind of stuff. This building from Friar Tuck's, that up there was the original Elks, EPOE, Elks. And they cashed out and built about 2 miles from here, out into a forested setting. That's the Masonic building right there. And there's a crystal and glass shop on the ground floor. It's been there forever. This street is closed to vehicle traffic. It can be reopened, but it allows these places to put tables out on the street, because this does get just shoulder to shoulder crowded in tourist season. And that's a coffee shop there. Kind of a hippie coffee shop. It's fun though. Toad Hall Books has been there forever. I hear the church bells ringing. It is Easter Sunday. This brew pub right here opened about 10 years ago, and boy, was it a welcome new addition. Very popular. Everybody happy to see it here. And it's a coffee shop and a cheese store and all kinds of places like that. And then right across the street is the Crazy Horse, which is one of the oldest bars around, and it can get a little rambunctious in there. People have been known to be escorted out under unfavorable circumstances. I'm impressed to see so many of the old places are still here. And by that I mean businesses. The buildings will be here forever. It's an old firehouse museum. Buildings will be here forever, but Treats Ice Cream's been around a long time. Shiva Moon, the Seas Candy right down there. The old stamp mill and Powler Wheel. Mining exhibits. Good. Of course, being a tourist town, they have to maintain these things for the tourists, so that makes sense. But I tell you, it can get a little quiet here. Although not like where I live now at Cave Creek. In the summertime, Cave Creek is not just quiet, it's tomb quiet. And this area never gets like that, because you get the Lake Tahoe skiers, even in the winter, that like to come around. Two pieces of mining history: Stamp Mill and Pelton Wheel. Stamp Mill, well, we should start by the motive force. Nevada City and Grass Valley were among the very first in the United States to have electricity, because they were producing so much gold. They were very important. But prior to that, they needed power to run the stamp mills and every other kind of thing. So a gentleman, Pelton Wheel, came up with this design, and I don't know the physics of it, but something about the dual scoop. And if you want scale, there you go. Well, look at these nuts and bolts. Something about that design. Started as water with belts and then turned into a generator. And the belts would run the stamp mill, there's the wheel, The belts would run the stamp mill, and they had this cam system. You can see the cam would roll up, it would lift the rod, and then down here you would have the rock coming through there. So that's a heavy weight, it would lift it and then boom, drop it and crush the rock. So this is a 5-stamp mill, and it's pretty easy to see why it's a 5-stamp mill. This is how it was done. And this is a core. They have these massive drill bits that would core. This is all hard rock mining, granite. So they had these massive, well, put it this way. This comes up to my chin. That's how big this core is. They'd core these out and they'd look and see if they had gold in there, which they frequently did. Then they'd chop it up. They'd put it in an ore car like this one on a very narrow gauge rail. And the mines were always flooded because, you know, you sink a well, there's water down there. Well, these things go down 1,700 feet. So they constantly were running water pumps to keep the mines dry. And then, by the way, we like our trees big around here. Like, real big. Okay, enough of that. There's another one. Just like that, and 2 more. It's tall pine country. So this guy ultimately ended up being banned after they actually literally wiped out an entire town. High pressure cannon, water goes in down there, goes through there with high pressure, and fires at a far hillside, mountainside, and just erodes it, washes it away, exposing all of the mineral wealth. And all of that wash away that I'm talking about, the dirt, would flow down a local river. Well, they did so much of this that the stuff that was flowing down buried a town, an existing occupied town. So if you could look up Alpha Omega, the mines, Alpha and Omega mines, you get a lot of history of it. It's really, really interesting. So they banned, even all the way back in the 1800s, they ended up banning these. Now that's the National Hotel. Been around forever and was picked up by an investment group about 10 years ago. And now it's the National Exchange Hotel. They refurbed it. I haven't been in. Great balcony. I've sat up there so many times watching parades, having drinks. Really nice. I see a family up there right now. Really cool place. Tons and tons of history. Presidents, that's where they stayed. And it's probably pretty pricey now that it got picked up by this group. But, you know, they had to put millions into the refurb. So it makes sense that it would be very pricey. Look up the main drag. This Emporium has a greedy owner. It's been vacant for at least 15 years. And nobody can come to terms with it. The city wants certain things to happen, the owner wants certain things to happen, nobody can agree, and so it just sits empty on prime real estate. Well, I see they've maintained some of this stuff from before the restoration. They had this cocktail shaker collection going on here. The bar hasn't changed. The restaurant, bar, the mine shaft. Now, you go to the mine shaft, chances are fairly good that you go and get in trouble. It's one of those kind of places. Definitely defines a dive bar. Why is it called the mine shaft? Very simply, they have access to a mine in there. They can go down into a mine. Now, at this point, it's certainly flooded, so it's of no value, but that's what they used to do. They would build these places on top of access, just like Virginia City. They'd build a house on top of the access to their mine, and that was one of the ways that they controlled people from going in and stealing their silver and their gold.